water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, when people first heard those 4 words, they may have just thought of the natural elements. But now, when we hear those 4 critical words, we think of destiny, we think of empathy, we think of inner strength, resilience, we think of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Within this cinematic masterpiece yields 3 key components to what makes it such an incredible show. Avatar is rich with life lessons, character development, and unbeatable storytelling. So my purpose here today is to persuade you to give this show a chance to watch or rewatch if you had watched it during your childhood and have yet to revisit it. Growing up, I've always had a fascination with media and entertainment alike, but not once have I ever seen a show as compelling as this one. All right, so a little bit of background ethos on myself. I actually discovered this show in the beginning of quarantine when it rose to popularity on Netflix. But this was a dark time when I actually needed it the most. Money was tight, my parents were in the midst of a divorce, and without the comfort of social interaction, I grew very depressed. However, Avatar acted as my guiding light through hardship. For example, my 2 little cousins seen right here live right down the street from me in my hometown of Novato, California. During quarantine, we would meet up every single evening and watch an episode together, and as you can see, the 2 were so inspired by the show that they decided to face paint the arrow of Aang on my own head. Episode after episode, day after day, gave me a new reason to get up out of bed and show this world the best version of myself. Time is really precious. However, Avatar is an investment of your day that I promise you will not regret. In fact, it's not just worth watching. It's something that everyone needs to watch. Due to its plot, its characters, its culture influence, Avatar proves to be time and time again one of the greatest cinematic masterpieces of all time. All right, for my first and foremost contention, this show holds a compelling plot with incredible character arcs that keep you invested in the series along the entire way. And it really has something for the whole family. Although it's initially aimed with a cartoon style to be a children's show, Avatar targets all sorts of audiences with mature themes, action, friendly cartoon designs, and really compelling storylines. A great representation of this is the main character, Aang himself. Aang is a character who is lovable and easy to follow, although he has his own personal battles to face, making him one of the most beloved main characters of all time. And he basically has this destiny to restore peace and balance to humanity after being trapped in an iceberg for 100 years, but he is granted with this blessing of power to really protect the rest of the world around him. So in addition to Aang, it educates the viewer on the troubles of war. You see the beginning of the story all the way from episode 1. Aang wakes up in the iceberg to realize that his beloved air temple, the last one to ever exist, had been ridden with genocide due to the Fire Nation attacking. Aang faces many self-doubt issues due to his pressure that he puts on himself to be the very last airbender. I think many viewers can relate to him in this way, one way or another. Now, Aang's inspiration actually comes from a lot of Japanese anime styles. Brian Konietzko, who is an Avatar: The Last Airbender producer, says that the best anime balances great action sequences with humor and emotion, and that's something that they really try to do on Avatar. As you will see in the next few slides, not only do we see this in characters such as Zuko, but we also see this in other ways as Avatar is being influenced by companies such as Studio Ghibli and such. So Zuko, who happens to be my favorite character, is on this destiny to pursue a line of royalty from a troubled past. His story follows his life of devotion to pleasing his father, who is a man that will never love him. So basically, when we talk about the structure of Zuko, we talk about the anti-hero, as well as the rest of the class, which is inspired by the works of legendary Hayao Miyazaki. So Hayao Miyazaki is the creator of Studio Ghibli, who is known to have award-winning cartoons and movies all over Japan. In addition, one of the animators of Nickelodeon says that Zuko's story is a saga of one conflicted man digging deep to question everything he once understood of the world. Zuko is finally trying to guide himself through a moral compass in order to find his own destiny. His metamorphosis as a human being is such a positive role model to anybody who is chosen to watch. For my second contention, I want to explain how Avatar emboldens the intricate life lessons of the world around us. So for example, we see this in characters such as Sokka, who is an orphaned child from the Water Tribe, who is discovering the meaning of masculinity, and he meets this girl named Suki, who happens to be a female Kyoshi warrior. We see, of course, issues of genocide, imperialism with the rise of the Fire Nation, discovering self-worth and purpose through the destiny that Aang must fulfill. We see the respect and treatment of nature and animals around us as they take care of their pet flying bison, Appa. And we see the empowerment of disabilities, as for example here we have Toph, who happens to be one of the most powerful earthbenders and is also in fact blind. Now for my third contention, I wanted to delve in on how Avatar really allows us to get a greater scale of cultural inspiration. In fact, I don't consider Avatar to be an anime because the exact definition of anime is a cartoon that is created in Japan. Now, Avatar is an American-made series, and as you can see, we have influences from all sorts of parts of Asia. As included here, we have Chinese characters, which is the official language of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And as you can see, my absolute favorite part of this influence of culture in Avatar comes back to Uncle Iroh. He is inspired by Chinese tradition, dating all the way back to the Tang Dynasty. And quotes like this: good times become good memories, bad times make bad lessons. Quotes like these, inspired by Chinese proverbs and the commonality of anti-metabolism in this region's philosophy, is so synonymous to Uncle Iroh's own advice. Uncle Iroh is also, in addition, an avid tea lover, and he drinks many Chinese tea blends such as jasmine and ginseng. In addition, we see some pretty cool influences of religion in Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think it does a really good job in bringing unity within people when they would have been divided on different religions and not being able to see each other from eye to eye. For example, the Avatar state, which is reached when he gains all of the power of the previous avatars and the ancestors, is actually synonymous and inspired by so-called enlightenment in the Buddhist religion. In addition to that, we see Hinduism being inspired by, Hinduism is inspiring the elements themselves in Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, as you can see here, there are some outside resources that they use to be inspired as well. One of my favorites is the Book of Five Rings. This was made by Japanese samurai Miyamoto Musashi. And he basically wrote this tale about taking different aspects of military strategy and martial arts to make the most out of fighting and technique. And the bending in Avatar, with the bending, with the air and the fire, this is actually a literal representation of this concept that Musashi actually explains in his book, which is fascinating. In addition, we have movies that I wanted to display, like Ponyo and Howl's Moving Castle from Studio Ghibli, which happened to be one of the finest stories known to mankind, in my opinion. And then also we have another influence of the Water Tribe warriors wearing war paint into battle. This was associated with Native Americans. Face painting is interpreted as strength in many indigenous cultures, such as African, Native American, and Southeast Asian tribes. Now, Avatar: The Last Airbender is a thoughtful display of the beauties and tragedies that humanity faces. To sum it all up, in doing so, the show demonstrates meaningful life lessons that you can take into your own everyday life, with its richness in storytelling, culture, and morality. It is truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I would give everything to watch Avatar again for the first time, and I strongly recommend all of you to go watch it. Besides, if Uncle Iroh was here, I bet his wise old self would tell you to do so too.